welcome. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. My name is Mike Jackson. I am a Nice Actimize representative managing the Canadian market. Thank you to the CRTA and those of you who are in attendance today. I'm going to run you through quite rapidly, because I have got limited time, key concepts in AML technology, as well as some industry thought leadership that I thought could be useful to share in today's session. I'm going to start off the conversation today discussing current industry challenges. And the view of this is really from a vantage point of Actimize being an international organization operating, selling AML technology for the better part of 20 years. We do have and we are granted insights in terms of what we see as consistent trends across the industry. Some of the challenge we're seeing today are really coming down to a narrow, single-dimensional view of risk. Lack of insights, which have a direct impact on the understanding of true risk. Compounding that with excessive noise by way of poor quality data, duplications, and unknown relationships result in a large number of false positives. Finally, ineffective detection and prioritization impede ability to triage rapidly and impact organizations' bottom line by increasing operational overhead. How do we solve this? Well, we start smart by creating an entity-centric view of a client, member, or customer. The intelligence delivered provides rich customer profiles. Perpetual data monitoring means constant risk transparency. Beneficial ownership intelligence provides accurate view of corporate structures. Rationalization and consolidation of entity-centric view of a client, customer, or member. Reduce duplication for more accurate alerts. Reveal hidden connections that lead to fully understanding risk. And constantly updating to reduce ongoing customer risk and false positives. We achieved this at Actimize through three primary pillars of AML technology: KYC, CDD, risk screening, and transaction monitoring. Through ongoing, perpetual view of risk through these three different departments, we have a holistic view of how we can address AML operational deficiencies and create a better, more streamlined view of true risk while staying compliant and utilizing industry-leading technology. The next topic I'm going to talk about today is around KYC and CDD programs. Fundamentally, we see here the compounding downstream impact of ineffective processes as it relates to clear understanding of true risk. Each segment in the diagram represent areas of weakness that amplify and ultimately impact your member and client experience working with your institution. Next, I'm going to show a brief video in terms of how Actimize thinks and addresses CDD.
In an increasingly complex and regulated business environment, financial services organizations are striving to gain a complete view of their customers. It's not an easy thing to do. Siloed data, inconsistent processes, disparate organizational systems, and difficulties enforcing firm-wide customer due diligence and know your customer policies stand between you and a full understanding of your customers and the risks they pose. The answer? Actimize Customer Due Diligence, an end-to-end customer risk management platform which gives financial institutions the ability to systematically, consistently, and efficiently identify, assess, and mitigate money laundering risks. An initial onboarding process based on a dynamic Q&A engine captures customers' details and continues diligence throughout the full customer lifecycle with initial and enhanced due diligence and proactive monitoring capabilities. With Actimize CDD, institutions can better understand customer beneficial ownership structure and proactively identify and mitigate issues while minimizing impact on customer experience. Every bit of relevant information and potential risk is captured and stored in one place, and any future changes to this information are monitored and updated as a part of the customer's risk profile. As the customer's use of products and services develops, or as their business environment evolves, CDD systematically reassesses the risk involved on an ongoing basis. Once a significant change in the customer risk profile is identified, CDD alerts analysts automatically. Get a 360-degree view of customer risks. Gain firm-wide consistency. Address regulatory requirements. And proactively mitigate risk. Nice Actimize customer due diligence solution. Complete customer risk.
There was a nice video demonstrating our approach to CDD, KYC. Here, we've got a visual of a closed loop process in regards to risk profiling. The concept of thinking in terms of closed loop from an end-to-end process perspective is important as we move towards understanding how to leverage machine learning, where to apply it, and how to apply automation tools as they relate to financial crime and compliance technology. This is truly an ongoing process which extends well beyond simple onboarding and perpetual screening of your members. The next area I'm going to discuss today are concepts in transaction monitoring. Regardless of the advances in analytics and lowering the amount of false positives, more transactions equals more alerts that need to be worked. In addition, financial crime is more complex than ever, and case investigations are taking more time. The good efforts of adding people to meet the demands within risk and compliance teams have not helped. The operational gap between what needs to get done and what teams are capable of doing is clear that only technology can enable institutions to keep pace and get ahead of financial crime. The key industry challenges fundamentally rely and outline our inability to resolve entities, our unableness to identify customer networks and fully understand customer risk and their connections, lots of manual intervention, which prevent us from adapting to new threats and new threat vectors, meaning unknown risks are not managed, long tuning cycles resulting in poorly optimized detection modules, solutions operating in isolation or in silo and not integrating with other financial crime solutions. All of these are a burden to institutions and prevent us from fundamentally achieving transaction monitoring.
In AML, we're rule followers. Regulatory rules keep the financial system safe. There are rules for governing deposits, transfers, and payments of monies. The rules rule us. Often, investigations find entities that play outside these rules, sometimes alerting common everyday transactions as risky. When we alert on every outlier, financial organizations are buried in false positives that take days or weeks to resolve. Meanwhile, legitimate businesses become de-risked and sometimes shut down. Yet, if financial organizations reduce alerting, they face exposure to risk, fines, and reputational damage. What we need is agility in AML analytics models to intelligently optimize thresholds and parameters on rules to accurately detect criminals, leaving legitimate outliers alone. Breaking the rules is typically a costly, laborious process. We've got an answer. Nice Actimize is transforming AML transaction monitoring with artificial intelligence by combining machine learning and advanced automation, bringing financial organizations accurate detection while reducing investigation times. With advanced machine learning, we can create smarter peer groupings for more use agile analytics to stay ahead of money laundering patterns. Compliance teams cut through the noise and reduce false positives by up to 30% without de-risking legitimate entities. With robotic process automation, investigators can deploy a seamlessly integrated virtual workforce. These robots automate manual work, removing mundane tasks from well-trained experts, freeing them to focus on strategic initiatives. Actimize Entity Insights offer visual storytelling with a comprehensive view of an entity, its relationships, and all historic alerts, reducing investigation and suspicious activity report filing time up to 70%. With AML, sometimes we need to break the rules.
How do we achieve this? First, the foundation of functional suspicion between data with flexible rules engines that permit ongoing tuning. The next step is consolidation of alerts. This should be by technology to avoid false positives and create a concise view of risk. Finally, the workflow through to resolution should be flexible, adaptable, and facilitate rapid triage and remediation, as well as provide robust audit controls for historical reporting and evidencing operational due diligence to the regulator. To sum up, the foundations of effective AML programs must consider ease of data integration and enrichment, followed by some level of automation which scales to the unique requirements of the institution. Network insights and dynamic workflows are needed to support rapid assessment and qualification of risk, followed by ongoing standardized trust scores across the member base. The final link in the chain is the process of suspicious reporting to the regulator. The process should be seamless via standardized workflow in a case management application, drawing down pre-populated known data sets into required forms for filing. The last step is effective case management. What we see across the industry is data is disparate and spread across internal and external systems, and processes are extremely manual, which lead to an inordinate amount of time that analysts are required to sift through data and make connections. At Actimize, our view is to consolidate and unify all information into a 360 view of risk, link information across units about current or past activity that can materially impact decisions. Through this profile of risk, through constant compliance and adaptability, Actimize looks to achieve success by providing industry-leading case management technology. And our approach is to start by leading with a visual workbench. And the reason why visualization is important is because humans can process visual data up to 60,000 times faster than text alone. This has become important to managing alert backlogs based on SLA and risk, understanding suspicious activity links to other entities throughout the firm, and exposing modern crime patterns that humans simply can't recognize with tabular sets of information. Fundamentally, good case management should be presented in a way that any user can easily understand alerting scenarios, and the system should not require a degree to operate. Finally, but last not least, I'm going to leave you with some parting thoughts that I felt were fairly prescriptive. And thank you again for your time today. And I will leave you with a few segments of some video clips from our last customer engagement.
I'll introduce the concept of a continuum. It will apply mainly to technology to enable that continuum. But when we look across our department for AML, we look at every department producing a set of intelligence that is really that golden intelligence, right? That is the source of it. That's the expertise we want to rely on that others should leverage when they're making their risk-based decisions. And so sharing intelligence, again, at the right time with the right people for the right processes is really important. And so if you're not doing that effectively today, it's an area I think that's worth the exploration, and it starts with data.
Just the sheer number of handoffs that take place. How many fingers are touching, a singular client profile in different areas, and many times using the same information. Continuing to build on the existing foundation in a siloed sort of way, really is just creating, from an expense perspective, it's an unsustainable model.
The US AMLA, Anti-Money Laundering Act. We've had the FinCEN Advanced Notice of Proposed Rulemaking. We've got the EU AML Action Plan. We've got various economic crime plans in jurisdictions which are seeking to look at fundamental questions, fundamental system design, which is really, really welcome because many parts of this system, struggle to demonstrate logic. What value does it have for individual regulated entities to keep expelling risky accounts for them just to re-enter the system? It provides almost no deterrence or disruptive value for a serious organized crime effort, which already has multiple accounts across multiple institutions. Now, the challenge is, can data protection stakeholders and financial crime policy stakeholders come together and, take this kind of step, which is that information sharing will help us achieve a more timely, more relevant, more focused system as a whole, which will have less of a data collection footprint on society, have more effective results, and we will be more likely to address the threats of interest to us.
For a consortium approach with, I love the concept, especially in trend.
And I'm going to leave it there for sake of time. Thank you again for your attention today. Look forward to reaching and speaking to each one of you. Please reach out with any questions you may have. Have a great day.
Thank you for that, Michael. So I'll open up the floor now, or the virtual table that we have here, for any questions for Michael. I'll also apologize. I know the video, at least on my end, seemed a bit bumpy. And so apologies for that, for the technical difficulties. Before I turn it over to Michael for any questions, please reach out. We'll work with the CCUA to make the videos and the content that's been shared here today available to you, in addition with the contact information of our panelists. So with that, I'm going to turn it over and look in our chat. Any questions? And maybe I'll, Charlene, look to you as well. Anything top of mind for you that we should make sure Michael answers? You're on mute, Charlene. It's okay. 2023 is almost over. It's all good.
I'm making sure no one can hear my new puppy squeaking in the background. There was actually one that I thought would be great for Michael to help us address, that was back during the panel. And there was a panel question that had come through about, what were some of the things that organizations maybe tend to get wrong when they're embarking on that modernization journey, and how can we avoid some of those things?
It's around preparedness and planning for adopting technology. That's key. Selecting vendors that address operational requirements is very important as well, making sure they have core competencies around case management. They have future roadmap and vision around technology. They can articulate what their 2 to 5 year plans are around addressing emerging technology, adopting machine learning, AI, and automation. So I think those are some of the things, at least through the lens of thinking about what is a good vendor fit, as well as I think it's important to also recognize that vendors that have an understanding of the region, and specifically the region of Canada and the needs, and specifically around the regulatory requirements in the Canadian market, and have some experience with Canadian clients, are very important as well. We do want to try to move and do better in the Canadian market, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement. And I think we can achieve some of that through looking at how we could potentially leverage consortium to address broader AML challenges in the market. But again, I think it's important, as I mentioned before, it starts with good data, understanding the framework and what vendors you're working with and what their expectations are. And me personally, through all the years of selling technology, one of the most important concepts to keep in mind is making sure you have a good front-end case manager that can scale with your business, because that needs to really be the hub of your AML operations. Without good case management, siloed operations, you're going to keep stumbling over the same problems, and you're going to keep experiencing the same situation that you could be dealing with today with backlogs and whatever other operational deficiencies you're experiencing.